We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. Cause Kristin knows blank.
Welcome back to the Kristin Knows Blank podcast. Oh my God, today's episode is so weird. I love my guest. She was so fantastic. We had such a good time. We talked about furries and sex dungeons. And you know what? We'll get to that. Thank you for watching or listening. However you're watching or listening, please take a second to like, follow, subscribe to this podcast. However you're looking in on, however you're taking this in, there's going to be a little button that says like, follow, or subscribe. Push that button and see what happens. You could win a python. Hi, I'm Kristin Key. I'm the host of this crazy mess. Go to my website. It's kristinkey.com. Follow me on all my social media. If you want to support this and all my shows, join the Patreon. It's super fun. There's bonus content. There's a monthly game night. It's a whole lot of fun. If you like the Kristin Knows Blank podcast, check out my other weekly show. It's called Friday Live at 5. I go live on Fridays. We play games. There are songs. Surprise, there's Mad Libs. Anyway, check that out. I'm also on Cameo. So if you want to give the unique gift of me, well, then find me on Cameo and give me as a gift. Now, my guest today is a hilarious comedian. She co-hosts the podcast Two Girls, One Podcast. And she's fantastic. Hey, computer lady, play that interview with Allie Goldberg.
Playing interview with Allison Goldberg.
Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. It's just so nice to have you, and it's so nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you too, and your ostriches. I'm happy to meet them too.
I feel like I should. This is Glenn. That is Percy. Yeah, they're my hype ostriches.
Of course.
Squawk me up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit of a stretch.
All right, we're off to a great start.
They can be your hype ostriches.
A bit of a stretch.
I tried really hard there.
So this is what, especially since we've never met before, what I like about, I started this podcast in pandemic because I was lonely and I missed comedians because I've been on the road for 20 years. And I realized that in the green room, we talk about comedy a little bit, but mainly we talk about what we're into. Mm-hmm. And so I started getting to know all these comics that I've known for years, more about like, what do they do when they're not in comedy clubs? And so when I reached out to you, I asked the same question that I ask all the comics, what are a few things that you're super into? Your answer made me so excited.
Great.
To have you on this, because it wasn't like, I like collecting pens or, Grey's Anatomy, which we could have a great talk about, but mm-hmm. I just go ahead and tell me again what your interests are.
Right. So for the listeners, Kristin asked me what I'm into, and I said anything weird, air quotes weird. And by that, I mean, some of my favorite memories are I have been to a furry party. I went as a voyeur to a sex dungeon. I recently went to a reptile convention, which shockingly is not where I got COVID. I got COVID 2 weeks later at a dinner with two other people. Fuck
not
me.
The reptiles. Oh my God. Okay, let's unpack it little by little. So, because you had me at the email as soon as I read furry, I reread it and was like, that's our topic. And I was like, there's more.
Oh,
so how did you find yourself, or did you go intentionally? Because this is something I've been curious about, and today, because of you, my browser history is weird today.
Yeah, you gotta use an incognito tab for like most of what I search for. Yeah.
I want to unpack that in a minute.
Yeah.
How did you end up at a furry convention?
So that one, actually, I haven't been to a furry convention, but there are conventions, and I am thinking of going to one. And I have been to a brony convention, so there's a lot of overlap in those fandoms.
I looked that up today. That's a My Little. For those of you watching that are just any of this is new, that's a My Little Pony convention, and they look so much fun. And is it My Little Ponies for guys or for anybody?
So it's mostly men. They say it's not only men, and it's not, but bronies are adult men who love My Little Pony, hence the bro pony. So it's mostly men, but there are women there.
Okay.
When I was there, I was trying to make honey happen, like your hoes who love My Little Pony, but like nobody was into that. But
quit trying to make honey happen.
I'm still trying, but where my honey's at. But I have never even seen an episode of My Little Pony. Like, I basically just love anything weird. And because I just think humans are incredible. Like, I love that humans are into so many different things. So I am more of like a professional voyeur where I'm just like, wow, you're into this thing. I want to come see you be into this thing.
How do you not have a show? This is like, it's like you're pitching me, and I wish I had the power to be like, here's the door, walk through. I want you to take me to all these interesting, because I mean, we call them strange, but it's not strange to the people that are at them. To the people that are at them, it's as normal as anything else. It's just like going to, well, I went to a Xena convention once, and to me and my partner at the time, who was a huge Xena fan, it was just as normal as any other Tuesday in San Antonio.
Right.
So
and then you meet, when you're there, you meet hundreds, literally thousands of other people who feel the same way. So
it makes it more normal. It over normalizes it, not over.
Everything. There's only one community where I was like, I don't know if this is that's the adult babies.
Oh my God. Okay, that's a fetish, correct?
Yeah, it's not necessarily a fetish, but it's mostly a fetish.
Part of it borderlines on illegal too, because I may or may not have had a relative arrested for this. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail in case my family's listening and be like, don't exploit that. But
I really want you to go into too much detail.
As soon as this is over, I'm going to tell you the whole thing.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but it's like okay, so you explain it so that, because you're the guest.
Well, okay, so ABDL is adult babies and diaper lovers. So there are some people who like to be an adult baby. There are other people who like to take care of the adult babies. And so so sidebar, I have a podcast where I do interview internet communities, which is how I've met a lot of these people. And then they've invited me to parties and I've gone and explored. So that's not that's the story behind some of the things I just mentioned, not all. But this adult baby that we interviewed was basically like, adult life is hard sometimes. And I was like, yeah, totally. And he was like, last week I got into a fender bender. And I was like, oh my God, so stressful. And he was like, sometimes you just want to come home and put on a diaper. And I was like, you lost me there, But so my thing is like, there was a part of me that was like, is this an inability to cope with adult life that you have to literally infantilize yourself? But on the other hand, if it's not hurting anyone, is it that much weirder than yoga? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what helps him.
Right.
But there also are people that like shit in their diapers, and there are people who love to like clean up the diaper.
There are people that
shit.
changed. I knew a diaper. I knew a diaper trans person back in my Texas days, because we had a very small gay community, and so you just take the gays you can get.
Who knew?
Right. So the only lesbian I knew for a little while was a trans lesbian with diaper fetish who only dated women that changed their, so that it wasn't a long lasting friendship, because we didn't have that much in common, as it turns out.
Right. Don't hide, Kristin. You can tell me. I told you, it's a safe space here.
When the line turns yellow, that's when I call my boo.
When the line turns yellow, that's when I call my fellow.
Hey, there you go. All right.
That's my new thing. Yeah, I mean, that one still breaks my brain a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I have to say, like, the bronies were so sweet. All the bronies were like, friendship is magic. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, sure. Yeah.
Well, I don't see the brony thing. I don't see how that's any different than, like, I've got some friends that are really, really into like Star Wars, to the point where like they build Star Wars ships from scratch from kit and spend all their time like figuring out the electronics on a Millennium Falcon. I don't see how that's any different than like really, really getting into My Little Ponies and how they smell and how they dress and how they make you feel, Yeah,
I mean, there are people that want to fuck My Little Pony, but you know what? Rule 34, like, if it exists, there is porn of it on the internet. I have also found mpreg porn. Mpreg porn is like when there's a fantasy around male pregnancy, and there's this one piece of mpreg fan fiction where Han Solo and Luke Skywalker have a baby together. So, like, is that any weirder than fucking a My Little Pony plushie doll? I don't know. Well, maybe the My Little Pony is still a little weirder. But you can find plushies on the internet where people have, like, turned them into fleshlights, which is, like, maybe too much too soon. Like, we're only, like, 10, 15 minutes into this podcast. But there you go.
No, I love it because this is why you're on. Like, try to keep a real open mind on here. So it's always like, if I'm ever like, that's weird, I try to go, no, it's not. It's normal, but you're on. And so I'm like, maybe it is. Maybe that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. With all of these fetishes and things like that, I just want to make sure, I just hope that people still value real human connection, over anything else.
That was a question of mine about the furries that I just researched, and I've watched a couple of like documentaries about it, and I was looking up it again today, like because my wife asked me, and she's like, "Well, I hope you're not gonna get a furry costume and like go have sex with people." I was like, actually, from what I read, like a lot of it's not about sex; it's about just like feeling comfortable with other people and people that have like social anxiety dress as furries. But there is very much a sexual element to it for some people.
There's both. Yeah. So some furries are very adamant that it's not sexual, and some furries are very open that it's sexual. So I do believe that there are some that it's not sexual, and there are definitely some where it's sexual. And then some people deny that there's a sexual element, which I just think is ridiculous because there's literally I forget what it's called. It's called like FurTube or something, but there is a porn site for furries, and I went and looked at it once because I had to, and it's like people in full fursuits just like railing each other, but it's like weird because there's no nudity really because they're like in a fursuit, you know what I mean, and the dick is just like in a hole.
Wow.
Yeah, I know too much. I know so much.
I'm curious.
Information. This is the only venue where I'm finally, getting to share my.
But aren't we all
knowledge.
curious? And most of us,
so
like,
curious.
other than the internet, we don't have the opportunity. Like, you're doing this work. You're doing God's work by going to these places.
Thank you so much.
And experiencing it in person. Instead of like on the internet, you just judge and you go, they're fucking weird. In person, you're like, no, these are actual people in there with erections or not, or autism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what you just said. Actually, exactly what you just said. So I went to a furry party, and this like furry took me as his guest. I went as a voyeur. Like everyone's like, oh, did you wear a fursuit? No, I wore normal people clothes. Also because fursuits are really expensive. But he literally
they're hot.
said
They're
to
hard
me,
to clean. I was Chuck E. Cheese for 3 years. Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. And
They're
I had
really hot.
some sexual experiences in there, but it was different. We were teenagers. We'll talk after the show.
We need to go right back to that.
Okay.
But,
or we can talk now. Yeah, it
we
happened.
can talk now. But basically my host said, we're all a little on the spectrum. Like that's what he said. So yeah, so they admitted that. And it was what you said. He said, a lot of us are really awkward or uncomfortable, and we put on a fursuit and we feel like we can do anything. And I do relate to that as a performer. Like you put on a costume and you can be someone else. But I do wish that people felt more comfortable in their own skin. Right. But then again, on the flip side of that, you could argue that we are the society that has bullying and cyberbullying, and then these people don't feel comfortable in their own skin, and then they wind up furries, and like maybe furries are fine, and the problem is the bullying, really.
The problem is the bullying. And is furries any different than someone that gets covered head to toe in tattoos? To me, it's the same issue of I'm not comfortable in my skin, so I'm changing it, and I'm becoming, what I want the world to see.
I have not thought about that. That's so interesting. Tell me about your time at Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, I worked at Chuck E. Cheese when I was a teenager because a girl that I liked worked there, and I was really shy, but they gave me the job, and I ended up, I started in the kitchen, worked my way up to the floor, and if you work on the floor, everybody takes turn being Chucky. There's a room called the Chucky room where everybody changes into Chucky, and that's where all the stuff happens. And so,
what stuff happens?
Oh my God. So we were just doing like makeout stuff.
Changing.
Yeah, because it's just a private room. And so whoever's in there, so we were doing our stuff. Well, it turns out some other employees and like some people with the management were like doing hand stuff and like some legit furry stuff, but not as furries just because we were horny teenagers all working at Chuck E. Cheese.
Right. So it's more like this is the changing room. This is where it's going to go down. Right. When I was in high school, I was kind of dating this guy, and he said he worked at Red Robin, the burger joint. And so my friends and I were like, let's go just like show up at the Red Robin, because that's what you do in high school. And then it turned out he was the Red Robin, which is fine, except for I think it was fairly embarrassing for him because he made it seem like he was a server and then he was wearing a bird costume. But not as cool as your ostriches, Glenn, and I forget the other one.
Percy over here.
God,
Purse
how
bird.
did I get Percy?
Purse bird.
Like Harry Potter.
Yes. Yeah, like Percy Weasley. Yeah. Tell me about your time voyeuring at a sex dungeon, and like how was that facilitated? Because I know I'm just guessing everything is that you're just a curious person, and opportunity found you.
Yeah, but I seek them. I seek the opportunities.
Okay.
Well, okay. All right. So for those of us who is watching us versus listening, because I have an artifact that I'm really excited to share.
I think we have majority viewers, I think. And for those of you, those listening, you can go back and view it at any time. So show the, I would love to see, especially given the topic that we're discussing and you say artifact, you have to play show and tell.
Honestly, it's not nearly as exciting as you think it's going to be, but I love it. So basically, there's this sex dungeon. This is when I was in San Francisco, and for $25, I know, once a month in the before times, they would have a newbie night. And for $25, you could go as a voyeur. A Tinder date told me about it. And I was like, I gotta fucking go to this. So then a friend was visiting, a friend who also likes weird shit. And we were at a bar. We were standing there kind of bored. And I was like, I hear there's a sex dungeon around here. You want to find it? And she was like, absolutely. So I texted the Tinder date and he was like, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He tried to date I was not into, he was a nice guy, but I was like, this is not what's happening. I just want to go to this dungeon. So we went to the dungeon. This guy pegged us, pun intended, as spectators immediately. Okay. And he was like, hey, I think you guys are new here. Would you like a tour? And I was like, fuck yeah, I want a tour. And then he was like, what's your name? And I said, my name's Allie, because that's my name. And then I said, what's your name? And he said, Excessive. And I said, okay, Dan. And then Excessive handed me a business card, which I'm going to frame soon, but just hold on. Here we go. If you are listening, you're going to want to go find the YouTube. It's literally just a pink card that says XSIVE, Excessive. And he decided to like cut these up and pass them out as his business card. And it made me so happy, so happy. I was like, everything about this night is incredible. Incredible.
No information, no way to find them. Just like, here is the name I call myself on a clearly scissored piece of paper.
Yeah. So I have this on my shelf next to a poem.
If I ever find out that you're at a party, I'm going to that party. If I was on the fence about a party and I find out you're going to be there, I'm going to be like, I'm in. This is going to be the best night of my life.
You're in LA. I'm down to go find adventures. Like, things are opening back up finally.
I'm going to give you my number and I'm going to have to ask my wife's permission. But if she says yes, she does not want to. She does not want to. No, none of this is piques her curiosity.
Oh, no.
No. And then I said, I was like, I got to look up the sex dungeon. She goes, ew. So we're yin and yang. We're very yin yang, and that's what keeps us spicy.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I'm looking for my yin or my yang. I'm not sure.
You need a vanilla maybe to go with your whatever, your spicy.
Maybe. I might need a fucking weirdo though. Anyway, but
you'd have a better show that way.
I agree with your wife though. I found it to be a very asexual experience. Like, it was all people that personally I wouldn't want to sleep with. I don't want to get electrocuted. I don't really want to get fisted. The fisting.
This is all happening on the tour?
Yeah, I saw everything.
Whoa, okay.
I saw everything that a person could see.
Okay.
But I would try most things, but like, I don't want to get electrocuted. There was an electrocution area. There was this woman like tied up getting flogged. And then it was really wild. It was wild. But it was kind of like being at the zoo. You know what I mean? You just walked around. There were cages. You just observed the different stations. I'm not allowed in zoos anymore, but that's another story.
Suddenly there's electrocution. There's fisting. Like, all right, get Allie out of the zoo.
Let me in. Yeah,
no,
let me in.
No.
I know. But that was my time at the sex dungeon. I highly recommend it. It's just like a slice of humanity, you know?
It's time for 5 quick questions.
5 quick questions with Allie Goldberg. Question number 1. You're hosting a sex dungeon party. What snack do you serve?
Pickles.
Okay, excellent. No judgment. I'm not going to even comment on them. You're correct.
I just went with the first thing that came into my head.
It's a finger food. I was thinking it would have to be a finger food.
And yes. I'm Jewish. We love pickles.
Perfect.
So it's pickles.
All right, we're in. Do you have a type of pickles? Because I'm picturing the little tiny ones, but it could be the big ones in a jar. You don't know.
I mean, I think there could be a pickle tasting area, and it could be all types and sizes of pickles, but there would have to be a disclaimer that, like, please do not use the pickles.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not what we're doing tonight. The pickles are for the snack area. I want you to know that in the sex dungeon, there was a snack area, and they had cheese, crackers, and cookies. I didn't want to touch those snacks.
No,
You know?
no.
And this was pre-pandemic, where I was like, are you guys like really sterilizing in between, or is this just like covered in juices? You know?
There's fisting and Cheez-Its. Like,
Yeah.
those two shouldn't be that close to each other. Okay, question number 2. You're offered triple your usual rate to perform at a nudist resort naked. Do you do it?
100%, but no video. You can't take video.
That's what my wife said, exactly. And I was surprised.
100%, like in a second. Yeah.
Would you accessorize?
In fact, if anyone's listening, you can hire me for that gig.
Oh, good. Okay,
Would I
okay.
accessorize? Oh my God. Absolutely. I would only wear fabulous earrings.
That's what I said. Okay, okay. Not a headscarf or anything?
No, just earrings.
Just earrings. Oh, beautiful. Okay,
Thank you.
wonderful. You book a gig at FurCon. What animal do you show up as? You're contractually obligated
Yeah.
to wear a suit, and it's paid for by the gig, built into your price.
You know, I'm looking at the ostriches behind you, and I'm thinking that's not bad. But also, like, maybe a sloth.
Both excellent answers. Excellent.
Thank you.
And they're windows into your soul. Okay, the last two are a little strange. You're
Oh, because
kidnapped.
the others were
Hey,
fine.
totally normal questions until these get a little off the rails.
Okay.
You're kidnapped and entered into a hot dog eating contest with your life on the line. How many hot dogs could you eat?
With my life on the line, I would just keep slamming them in. You know what I mean? I want to live. I want to live.
Okay. At
Yeah.
what point do you think? Because I could probably, life on the line, eat 3.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're going to die. Life on the line, I was like, do I need to eat 100? I'm going to make it. I'm going to survive.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I just survived COVID. I'm going to survive this hot dog eating contest.
Number 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's another kidnapping question. You're kidnapped and entered into a talent show with your life on the line. What do you do?
Well, I think I tell jokes.
That would okay? Because I'm like I'm trying to think about the same things I'm asking you, and I'm like, would I play the banjo? Like I'm trying to what would keep me alive?
Yeah.
Would my stand up keep me alive?
Does this mean that I have low self-esteem or really healthy self-esteem that I'm like, there's nothing that I'm like the best at?
I think you have a great self-esteem because you immediately said what you do for work as your talent. You're like, oh, I would do stand up, and I was like, I believe you. I think you'd live.
You know, thank you. It's like, what do I have in my back pocket that's ready to go?
And now it's time for Rad Libs. So here's what happened. I've written a story and I've left out some parts of speech. If you give me those parts of speech together, we're going to create a hilarious story. Are you ready to play Rad Libs?
I'm ready.
I need an adjective.
Saucy.
Yes. I need a nationality.
My God. Well, my head just immediately went to Ukraine, but I feel like that's not appropriate for Rad Libs. So let's just do American.
Okay.
You know, they got bigger fish to fry. We need to just send them some love and some money. We'll keep them out of Rad Libs.
We will not exploit you during this podcast today. And we should send more money. Yes.
Okay.
A body part.
Let's do elbow.
A first name.
First name, Kristin.
Oh my God. Excellent.
How often does that happen? Is that every episode?
Never.
Really? Okay.
A word that starts with a K that's not Kristin.
Kink.
A verb ending in ER.
Let's do a jump roper.
Yes. I need an occupation.
Statistician.
A city.
Seattle.
A language.
Hebrew.
Yes.
This is where conspiracy theories get started. The Jews did it! I'm Jewish, I can say these things. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, the podcast got good. A verb ending in ing.
Fisting.
Yes.
I had to.
You had to. Yes.
Yeah.
A verb ending in ing.
Stretching. I just was looking at your ostriches and I went with stretching.
Excellent. A plural noun.
A plural noun, bicycles.
Let's see. A verb.
Wobble.
Something you yell in traffic.
Sorry! Because I'm actually the problem. Yeah, let's go with sorry.
A crime.
Murder.
Excellent. A question.
Was it Colonel Mustard in the library with the wrench?
A government agency.
The FBI.
Yes. Another body part. Oh, and this is
Earlobe.
plural.
Earlobes.
Earlobes. Noun.
Noun. Succulent.
A succulent. Yes. And we have a story, my friend. We have a phenomenal story.
Oh my God, I
written
can't wait.
specifically for you by us. And this story is just called Inventing Allison.
Oh, wow. Okay. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. Inventing Allison. I'm a private investigator looking into a saucy case about a mysterious comedian named Allison. Some know her as a stand-up comedian. Others believe that she is an American heiress, and some swear she made her money as an elbow model on the internet.
Facts.
Okay. So who is Allie Goldberg? Well, for one thing, her name isn't Allison. It's Kristin Kink.
Oh. Nice.
Now I've got a new nickname. Growing up, she worked as a statistician in Seattle, which explains the Hebrew accent she's so famous for. A few years later, she was fisting her way across the South.
I was. Just a suitcase and a fist. Off to realize my dreams.
Just a suitcase and a fist.
Yep. A whole new meaning to carpetbaggers. Something. I don't know. I'll workshop that. Okay.
A talent scout discovered her and gave her a show. It was called Kristin and the Stretching Bicycles. It made her so popular she couldn't wobble down the street without somebody yelling, "Sorry!" Why she left it all behind is a mystery, but I think it had something to do with that murder. I spoke to her once and asked her, was a Colonel Mustard in the library with a wrench? She replied, "Don't tell anyone, but my real work is for the FBI, and I'd rather not say." Well, my earlobes are sealed. Allison is a woman with many layers, just like a succulent. Amazing.
Was beautiful. Beautiful. And honestly, of all the stories I've read lately or heard, that's my favorite.
There you go. I'm so glad we could do that together. We sat down and we created some gold.
Yeah, created. I sent you my bio. So, sure.
Now we got to the bottom of that one, your Hebrew accent that you got from Seattle. Tell the listeners and the viewers where they can find you and what you got coming up.
I do have a podcast called Two Girls, One Podcast, where we look at weird things from the internet. So check it out. And in terms of where I'll be performing, I post it on social media. So please follow me. I'm at Allie_Goldie, ALLI_GOLDI across platforms. And in particular, I hate to say it, but I've finally dove into the TikTok wormhole and I'm having a lot of fun and I'm TikToking every day. So new content there every day.
Good for you, God. Well, I know I'm going to jump in, and I have a feeling you're going to get a lot of new followers from my small group of people who are very curious and really into butt stuff topics. So we're gonna be looking you up. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You're absolutely like I will have you again.
Interview complete. Saying goodbye to Allison with a hearty fisting.
Oh, sorry, Allie. No, sorry. Yeah, computer lady hasn't gotten the hang of goodbyes yet. Oh, sorry about that. But thanks for coming on the show. You are fantastic. You're a delight, guys. Follow, find, friend, listen to Allie's podcast, Two Girls, One Podcast. She's amazing. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Take a minute to like, follow, and subscribe. Find my website, kristinkey.com. Grab a cameo from me. Join the Patreon. And make sure and check out my weekly Friday show, Friday Live at 5. Next time, I'll be bringing you another hilarious comedian. We're going to talk about some interesting topic, play 5 quick questions, do a rad lib. Then everybody goes home smiling. Until next time. Bye.
Gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. 'Cause Kristin